Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Monday. It's Monday Night Football tonight, and the Dolphins are playing. But moreover, all of you are here and excited to be here live talking to you about our upcoming event on October the 4th, Scaling with Certifications. Looking forward to everyone coming out this Saturday. So, we're going to talk about that today. What is Scaling with Certifications? Why it's important? Why you should be there? It costs you nothing to join. It's free. It's a live webinar. And it's the first time we're going to be doing an actual event in Washington, D.C. So, I've got some friends joining me that are going to be speaking at the upcoming event, and we can't wait. So, what is Scaling with Certifications event? By the way, we'll give people a couple of minutes to jump on and recognize that we're live. But today we're going to talk about scaling with certifications. We're going to answer any comments, questions that you guys may have about the event, and also why I think that coming into 2026 fiscal year, it's one of the most important things that anyone can do because regardless of what I say, many of you already have obtained certifications. So you're already in that place and you're trying to figure out what to do with them, right? And so we've got a lineup of speakers that are going to be helping us navigate through what that looks like. And to kick off, I want to go through some of the speakers today, their backgrounds, who they are, why did I select them, and then also be able to answer any questions that people may have regarding the upcoming live webinar event. It's going to be a full day, action packed, and I'm going to be driving the ship. And at the end of the event, we're going to look to have a roundtable discussion between the different companies and people to discuss, strategies, techniques, all the things that they did to help them grow and scale using federal procurement. So I know right now there's a lot of questions about what's happening out here. There's a lot of questions about what's happening with the government. And I want to be able to answer all those questions. There's a lot of changes happening with the FAR. There's a lot of changes happening, period, just with the administration. Today is the 29th. There could be a government shutdown. So all those things I definitely want to come on and talk about with people to try to help ease some of their concerns, or maybe not even ease their concerns, just let them know really kind of what I'm seeing from here now as a local down here in Washington. So for all of those who are thinking about, Eric, what's happening? What are you seeing? There's a lot of mixed messages going on, and I want people to be able to answer those questions. So let me know you're here. Looking forward to connecting with everybody in this area and looking forward to seeing everybody on Saturday at the upcoming event. So let's just jump into it real quick. So one of the first guests I chose. Oh, let me put this back on the screen. So you might have seen this interview that I did with Erica Dobbs from Rejection to Millions. A lot of people saw this interview, how in a really short period of time, she grew her company. She was a government employee that transitioned into a small business. And what's fascinating about Erica's story is that she never was worked in the business. She always worked on her business. In fact, I'm going to drop this link in the chat for those of you guys to watch it as kind of a precursor to her actual Saturday event, right? But Erica came out of government. In fact, she told me that she was still working for the government when she first saw my content online. And then she left government and then she came out to the private sector and immediately start winning contracts and hiring people. And she never physically had to go and put herself on contract as a 1099 or as a W-2 employee. She went straight to winning contracts. And then all of a sudden she went to becoming a prime. And then now she's grown her business. And so we want her to come on and talk about some of those techniques that she did and how she did it. The second person I chose, Venus Quates. Again, a lot of these women don't get enough attention. And one of the reasons why I chose him is because I know that There is no nepotism. They're not getting special treatment. I know that they're having to claw their way up, get it out the mud, and are having to fight for every dollar that they earn. And so Venus Quates, she's one of those. She's been on the Inc. 500 list about, I think, 4 times now. So you can look her up. Her company, it's called Launch Tech. And so again, someone who has, if you think about landing on the top fastest growing companies in the country's list, 4 years, right? I mean, that's, so think about growth, right? So if you think about growth and then you think about exponential growth, right? So some of us grow kind of like linearly, but she was able to grow exponentially. In fact, let me see if I could find it. So again, so you'll see here. So in 2022, they appeared on the Inc. 5000 list for the second consecutive year. So again, so that was 2021, 2022, and then in 2023. Okay, 2021, they were number 66 on the list. And you know what when I say this stuff, why is this important? So I was in a program called Entrepreneurs Organization. And in Entrepreneurs Organization program, that is a program for companies who are doing at least $1 million a year in revenue. And one of the things that I noticed, they had a like a starter program called Accelerator. And Accelerator is when you're doing about $250,000 in revenue. And one of the things that I noticed in the Entrepreneurs Organization program was that the companies who went from Accelerator to the Entrepreneur, the full out blown program, the ones that actually did that the fastest period of time were government contractors, because like I know, 1 or 2 contracts can change your life. It could change your trajectory. And so I saw this with my own eyes where one day someone was in a smaller $250,000 a year mark. The next day they were in a full out entrepreneurs group doing millions of dollars in business. And so that's what happened. And again, I hate to make it seem like it happened overnight, because obviously there's a lot of work, but because of the size of the contracts and the scale and nature of what we're doing, any one of us who's working in some of these high growth spaces, this can happen to us. And so again, having her come on and tell her story is not just, I don't want her to tell her story, right? I want her to talk about specific activities that she did, techniques that she did. I want to talk about, how she approached people, how she talked to people, what was that like? And I want to give you guys the chance to also ask questions. So the reason why we're coming on today, one is I want you to go through, know who these people are, and then understand kind of their backgrounds, because what I found that it helps when you can see yourself in someone. And so if you can see yourself in some of the speakers, then it makes it more real for you, and it makes it so it's that something that you can actually do and that you can obtain, right? But when I sit down with them on Saturday, I'm gonna go through all of this and find out, okay, exactly. For example, I want to talk strategy. I want to pull out my paper and my notebook, and I want to sit down. I want to go through, right, specific activities. Okay, so what should I do first? What should I do second? If I'm at 5 million, what do I do? If I'm at 10 million, what do I do? Right? I want to go through that, because a lot of times these are the questions that people have on here. Our next guest is Sean Kingsbury. He works at SAIC. And so I want to mix this up, right? I want to get some small businesses, some large businesses, some mid-sized companies, right? And so Sean Kingsbury works at SAIC. Many of us know SAIC, multi-billion-dollar company. They actually work with lots of small businesses. They work with people who have different socioeconomic set-asides. And so Sean's going to be instrumental, because Sean, first of all, let me just tell you. So Sean, he attended our GovCon Giant Summit last year. He was a speaker on a panel, but he spoke on a panel with a group of other people. So he wasn't able to shine his light as bright, because he was on a panel talking specifically about like IT and cybersecurity stuff. So in this instance, what we want to do is want to bring Sean on and have Sean discuss specifically where are the opportunities for small businesses with different social economic set asides, right? So what is SAIC seeing in the marketplace? What are they experiencing? What's been coming down from the White House to the major primes? And then what's flowing down to us small businesses? So Sean is a good one because he's going to be candid and talk to us about it because one, he came out of government. So he worked in government. He worked actually for a couple of different agencies before he got picked up by SIC. And now at SIC, he has multiple hats, multiple roles. But specifically, I know in some of the areas he's guiding some of the areas where the organization wants to go and with some of the agencies they want to go. And they're looking for specifically strategic partners. So I'm bringing him on because I want him to talk about what types of partnerships are you looking for? Does that make sense? By the way, I haven't seen anybody say anything in the chat. Can someone just, put up a hand, put up a thumbs up, say, hi, Eric, we're here. I see people watching, but I don't see anybody making any comments, which is fine. Just give me some feedback. So again, we've got Sean coming here to talk about opportunities at the $1 billion level, but that are being flown down to small businesses that have different socioeconomic set-asides. And then I have my man, Sam Mohammed Elias. And so Mohammed, Sam, he actually, I met him at an event here in DC. And then the first year of our summit, he came out and spoke. But he's actually one of my favorite people when it comes to the 8A program, because I remember a few years ago when we were going through challenges in 8A program. By the way, can everybody hear me okay? Is my sound fine? Yes? What's up, Tavin? Okay, can you guys hear me? Sounds good? Just sound check real quick. I've been talking for 12 minutes and I didn't even... Okay, good. Thank you. All right, cool. All right. So Sam here. All right. So Sam's company, again, this was in 2023, celebrating 10 years of the Rely Group. And when you go after 10-year anniversary, you'll see that, again, he worked at Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, right? And then he went from there to starting his own company organization. And then you could see here, Sam, he secured HUBZone 8A, CMMI clearances, okay. And then he received his first prime contract in 2016, right? So again, you're talking about 2023, he's already 10 years in. So it took him 3 years to get his first prime contract, but and it put him on in 2020 the Inc. 5000 list, and then 2022 he got an award, and then he was named 8A Business Person of the Year. So it took him 3 years to get his first prime contract. 3 years, right? But from those 3 years to get his first prime contract, after that, right, then within 6 years, he became 8A Business Person of the Year. Today, he has over 600 employees in 35 states, including DC and Puerto Rico, right? And so now I can tell you his company is doing well north of I get my numbers wrong. It's over $100 million. We'll just say that. I don't remember if it's 8 figures, 9 figures. Yeah, 8 figures. So they're doing well north of $100 million. But more importantly is you could see how he, again, a lot of us don't have the patience, right? A lot of us think that we're supposed to, we just started a year ago or 2 years ago, we just start trying and it didn't work out. And so we want to throw in the towel, where clearly we could see from his story that he patiently waited 3 years to get a prime contract. I know people that are in our community on Federal Help Center that have gotten prime contracts in a shorter period of time than that. But you know what they say? Sometimes success can be your biggest enemy because you think that that's going to always happen. And so you fail to continue to do the things to strive for greatness. And so Sam, on the other hand, did not have early on success, unlike some of the other people that I gave examples to, right? Where Erica came out and started getting immediate contracts. He did not. So he looks like he struggled for the first 3 years. But And amidst that struggling to get his first prime contract, he then after he figured that out and people start trusting him, then his company blew up in the following 6 years, making him 8A Business of the Year. And now he's got over 600 employees, which, by the way, when you look at the data, historically in the United States, right, less than 1% of all companies have more than 500 employees. So it puts them in the top 1% of companies nationwide in America. So again, Sam, from my standpoint, when I came to my conference 2 years ago and he spoke, again, a lot of these guys, I had them on panels. So you didn't get a chance to hear from them one-on-one. And so what we're doing differently is now I'm going to be interviewing them one-on-one. So you're going to get to hear specifically like, hey, Sam, and by the way, just kind of give you some more history about Sam. Sam, when they were challenging the 8A program 2 years ago, he said to me that the 8A program changed his life and that he would never be able to do some of the things and afford the opportunities that he has if it wasn't for the 8A program. So you're going to hear him say that on Saturday. And so he was so passionate about the program and how it dramatically changed his life and his family's life, is that he was literally wanted to pay someone, and he asked me partly to do it, someone to do it, become a big advocate on behalf of the government for the 8A program. He wanted to personally finance that because he felt so strongly how the impact that he experienced from the program. So that's how strongly he felt from it. He wanted to hire me and some other people to put together an advocacy group just to go in and continue to fight to preserve this program because of the immense amount of blessings that he has benefited from, his family has, his employees, his team, everybody has grown immensely from these programs. So this is the kind of person you want up there talking about the different programs and how they leverage it. Again, unfortunately, in my previous instances with them, I didn't have a chance to talk directly to them one-on-one. They were sat on panels. So what's going to be different is that now I'm going to have a chance to sit down with them, just them and myself, across talking about strategies, techniques, things that we can do out here to help us go to the next level, whether that's 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, right? And so those are some of the things we want to go over. Now, the format, I'm going to come in. I'm going to talk about some of the success that we've had, some of the case studies of people that we've worked with, and then we're going to get in and we're going to start interviewing some of the guests, and then we're going to close off with a roundtable discussion where we go over, right, we're going to have a couple of them sit down and then talk about, I'd like to ideally have people just throw out ideas about techniques that they've used, and then let the other guests essentially think, is that a good idea? How would they do it? Would they do it differently? Right. And so we want to do some of that back and forth. So that is the format. That's what we're doing right now. And so I want to come on. I want to share that with people out here and let them know so that you had an understanding of what was going on and where we stood. Anybody, I know a lot of people are just coming on and they might have missed the first part, but ultimately what we're discussing was the different speakers coming up. If you haven't already registered for the event on October the 4th, please, whenever you get a chance, register. We want to be able to let people know what's going on. Also, there are some free giveaways. All of that's on the website that we could talk about. But I did want to get into the logistics of the event, what you're going to be gaining from the event, the speakers, and talk about their backgrounds and everything like that. Anybody have any questions about this stuff? Questions, comments? Yeah, no, I'm excited because it's, like I said, it's my first event that I'm in DC. And we're going to be having other different types of format events, but I wanted to be able to broadcast this to all of you. And I'm very honored that, by the way, I have a long list of people. I didn't even make it through my invite list because the first people that I wanted were like, yeah, Eric, I'm around, I'm in town, I'm here. So I think it's great because, yes, I would love for us to all be in the same room together, but like I know to make a conference work or a summit work, that means I've got to have multiple stages and multiple vendors, and that's a much bigger commitment for my part. And to be honest with you, even when we do the conferences, we usually have 3 or 4 different breakout sessions, and you have to choose between the sessions. So in this way, you don't have to choose between sessions because you're going to get all the different sessions. So we actually want to do an additional 3 speakers or additional 4 speakers and push the time back. But for the sake of the studio and it's our first time at the gate, we figured that would be, six people is good enough. All right, Gil, you're going to be at the event in October. Nice. Awesome stuff. Yeah, so for those of you nice. Anybody have any questions about the event? Anything about the event at all? Okay. Anybody have any questions about anything differently? Yeah. So what Gil's talking about uh, is the Agriculture and Energy Summit down in San Juan, Puerto Rico, coming up October the 13th through the 15th. I'm going to be speaking at this event, so good chance to come down. What's interesting that's happening now that I think a lot of people are not realizing is so a couple things are happening. I'm going to make some content about this, but we've been talking about the energy space now for the better part of 4 years. Remember, Shalea Morissette came to our event. Department of Energy sponsored my first summit. I don't think people realize, like people was talking about the AI boom, but what do you think powers the computers that allow us to use AI, right? So all of the former crypto miners are now building these huge data centers that are housing the computers that are powering all the AI. So energy is a huge play right now in the space because in order for us to realize the full potential of AI, we need enough energy in order to do that. So if anybody's out here looking for a space to go into and to grow into, the energy sector is a good space. The other thing with regard to Puerto Rico, as we know, there's a lot of emphasis on the current administration talking about Puerto Rico as the hub for fighting terrorism. And so they're looking at setting up, we know that they're diverting money from our overseas affairs and now bringing money back to, the border with Homeland Security, but also to Puerto Rico and, essentially fighting the the potential threats that are happening here. And I'm saying here, I'm not there, but in like Central and South America. So, energy is a huge, huge, huge play right now in AI. In fact, you can't have AI without energy. And then Puerto Rico is a key strategic ally location for us, specifically for what this particular administration's efforts are in, fighting people here in this. So, and I keep saying here, fighting people in Central and South America. So, yeah, so this event I'm supporting, and so again, I'm supporting this event here in Puerto Rico, and you know, I think a lot of times what I've seen is that we, and I understand it. Trust me, I understand it. When you're starting out, you're like, hey, there's a lot of things to different chase, but I will say that my experience has always been when I go into places like this, people are open, they're friendly, they're willing to talk to you, and like everybody else, people are looking for opportunities. So if you have an understanding of procurement, you have an understanding of contracts, you've got your certs. I mean, that's the United States. All that stuff carries the same weight over there. All right. What else? Anything else? Anything else going on? Yeah, data centers is huge, Tavin. I mean, and like I have a friend of mine who was a construction. I mean, he still is a construction contractor, but now he's got a division of his company where they're helping to do development, land development for data centers. And so he's doing all the infrastructure for some of these data centers. And so, because he's got all the equipment, he's got the physical equipment that can clear the land, that can flatten the land, that can dig, like all of the underground pipes and things like that. So they're doing all of the infrastructure work um, for some of the data centers because, as you guys know, they're putting these data centers in the middle part of U.S. So that's what they're doing. But yeah, so I mean, again, there's so many ways out here that I don't think any one person can tell you all the different ways and all the different avenues that you can leverage, your skills, your capabilities, people that you know's capabilities, to basically, essentially, secure contracts for yourself, your business, and other people that you're working with. Yeah, no, listen, Matt, you got your search looking for your first project. Good stuff. Smoke, you got a tribal on 8A, looking for some opportunities. Yeah, Smoke. We have there's so much out here. There's so much out here that I mean I would be if I didn't see, if I didn't see it for myself. And by the way, I've only been here for a few days. I mean, I've moved a month ago, but I've been traveling a lot. So, for me, I haven't even had a chance to like go down to like Congress or the Senate or any of that kind of stuff yet. And they're out of office. But once the smoke clears from this, what happens right now with the recession. I'm sorry, I keep saying with the potential if they if they shut down the government and that happens. Once all that stuff resolves itself, continuing resolutions and things like that, which we're kind of get accustomed to now. Once that finishes happening, um, then I'll start spending time with some of the political leaders and kind of figuring out the lay of the land. But I suspect that as I start to do that more, I'm going to unravel some more opportunities that exist out here because I know for a fact that being so far away, I can't see everything that was going on. So I'm excited to be here, to be able to see all the opportunities and be able to bring it back to people and talk to them about, what's happening that you don't necessarily know of. Just Monday, someone in our group talked about some opportunities, a grant program through FEMA for helping to secure like churches. Um, and so I thought that was interesting because I had never heard of anything like that. So they said they were having a hard time getting people to even respond to these opportunities. So someone in our group brought it up and the Federal Help Center and was like, again, just fascinating because there's so many things out here that like I said, I personally don't know, and I'm excited also to learn about them. So yeah, what else? Well, as you see, we're continuing to stay on top of what's happening in the space. We're going to continue to align with people that want to contribute in the space. I look forward to meeting people here that want to give value and people that want to bring stuff to our community. I know for a fact, I know 1000% that someone's going to come to me and say, "Hey, Eric, we've got this thing. We need help. Can we help you work with your community?" And so I just want to really make sure that everybody listening, everybody's tuning in, stays ready, right? So you don't have to get ready because, again, the opportunities are flowing. They may be in a different shape, form, different name, but they're still flowing. So I want to say that because the opportunities are here, they're flowing, the dollars are flowing. Yes, there's gonna be always, always, always you're gonna have people telling you that no, well, we're having trouble, this is not working anymore, this is Nothing works like it used to work. All right. So I'm going to say that, right? I mean, hell, it wasn't a few years ago where we didn't have Chat GPT or any of that kind of stuff. We didn't have AI the way that we're using AI. Only AI was used inside of devices that we didn't know it. So again, no, that doesn't work the way it used to work, but that doesn't mean it's still not happening. It's just happening in a different format. And our job is to understand how, where, and then go essentially and find the dollars, find out how they're procuring the dollars, and then basically get in front of it. And they're there, and it's happening. So we just got to, figure this thing out, and hopefully, if you continue to pay attention, stay in the game, be inquisitive, and then be a student, then you'll do well, right? So I know we're gonna do well. We're gonna crush it, but yeah, I can't help. I want to before I go. I want to show you guys this because I did I take it down. By the way, if you guys are just joining us, I see some new people joining on real quick. I'll just walk through really quickly. So on Saturday, right? This is our lineup. We've got Erica Dobbs, essentially a former government employee, came out and launched her business. She quickly started doing contracts. She never was a W-2, never was a 1099. She immediately started working on the business, not in the business, and then focus on business development. She's going to be speaking. Venus Quates, her company's on the Inc. 5000 list, I think 4 times, maybe 5. But again, fastest growing woman business, several years in a row. At one point, she was number 66 out of 5,000. Sean Kingsbury from SAIC is going to talk about the opportunities that exist. Multi-billion-dollar company for small businesses. He came out of a federal agency some many years ago, back in the early 2000s, but now he's helping lead several initiatives at SAIC. Again, we're going to talk to them about what socioeconomic programs they're buying and how we can get in. And then Sam from the Rely Group, again, left government, took him 3 years to get a prime contract, has HUBZone 8A, and then after those 3 years, he got his first prime. 6 years later, he was 8A Business Person of the Year. Today, he's got over 600 employees, 35 states. So we're going to be asking Sam what he did, how he did it, right? And then having one-on-one interviews with all of them. And at the end, we're going to have a roundtable discussion so that we could talk about, right, what worked, what didn't work, what do you think is happening, what are you seeing in 2025, what are you seeing in 2026, where do you think the money's flowing, things like that. So that's my first event in DC. Super excited. And like I said, just want to, start giving people value, right? That's what we do. Start giving people value, getting my friends up there and letting them talk to them. I've talked to these different people on different occasions, but to get all of them in a room together, right? That's going to be amazing. And then let them all meet each other, and then also kind of trade in on best practices, and then give all of that to all of you out here, my audience. So that's what we got. All right. Any other questions for anybody before I close out? How y'all feeling? How's everybody feeling about 2025, 2026? How's everybody feeling? Happy, excited, scared, afraid? It's funny. I listened to so many people talk before, and they said, you know, it's Jackie says, great. I can tell you, great big opportunities coming up, good stuff to happen. I mean, I can tell you, I'm super excited. Again, I moved here. I physically moved here because of the opportunities. I'm, you know, I moved here because of opportunities. Plain and simple. I moved here because of opportunities. So I'm here. I'm putting myself here. I'm planting myself in this community, and I'm gonna be doing things, you know, with folks in the community, and hopefully, we can do some things together with some of you people out there. So I'm excited. Looking forward to it. I brought this up. I'm gonna bring this slide up for you guys. I brought this up in our so I'm gonna share this with you guys. I shared this in my private federal help center. I'm gonna bring this up. Uh, let's see. Rick says scary times. He said, glad you brought the books back in the background. Yeah, I'm working on. I'm be working on my set, Tony. I'll be working on the set. So yeah, I'll be working on this set in a little bit. Um, in fact, hey, this book, Tony, was represent. This book was, um, what's the word I was looking for? Nipsey Hussle recommended this book, The Way of a Superior Man. It's a great book, by the way. So I brought this up last week's call in Federal Help Center. And by the way, congratulations. Very I didn't see Jason B says, Eric, thanks for all the great information you shared. Great lineup. I was able to secure 4 prime contracts this year, looking to grow into 26. So congratulations to you, Jason, securing 4 prime contracts. And that's a great testimony. I love that. Big Time said, should I wait to get my 8A? So I don't have enough information, Big Time, on you and your background to say that. So I can't really speak. Tavin, you know what I have under my sleeve? Exactly. Someone says, isn't 8A going away? So what's up, Tam? So no, I just made a video, I think yesterday, where we talked about the 8A program is not going away. In fact, the government just approved a bill on the 26th that literally talks to the 8A program specifically, and that they are advocating for the 8A program. They're pushing for the 8A program, and that this current administration fully supports the 8A program. They just came out that 26. I have it on a video that I released like a day or two ago. But I want to share this because I think this is pretty fascinating. See if I can make it bigger for you guys. So there's this guy that I follow online because people have sent it to me, and he tracks all of the congressional members and their net worths. And so if you look here, right, James Justice from West Virginia, $600 million net worth. Jefferson Shreve, representing Indiana, $600 million net worth. And if you just scroll down, 200 million, 200 million, 150 million, 150 million, 130 million, 100 million, 97 million. If you scroll down and see these numbers, 60, 70, 80 million dollars, right? 40 million, 30 million. I mean, this is hundreds of people. And look at them. 21 million, 20 million, 20 million, 20, 19 million. So all I'm saying is that when you look at it, their all salaries are about 150,000 a year, I think is the number, right? And some of them are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So this place is full of money, and I'm here for it. And I hope you guys are here for it, because I'm here to give it to you. Whether you do something with it or not, that's on you. But I'm definitely here to give it to you. I'm standing in front of you, and I'm gonna, like, when you see me and you see what we're doing, you know exactly where we're headed. So there's no secret. The secret is out. I'm here, and so we're, I'm pressing forward, and we want to put everybody in the game. So that's what we're doing. Is it okay to come to an event if you don't have any certs? Yeah, it's okay to come to the event even if you don't have certs. Yes, it is okay to come to the event even if you don't have certs. So For the person who asked about the 8A going away, I'm gonna just share this real quick. So this was a memo that came out. This came out, like I said, 3 days ago, and it talked about the preservation of set-asides and more competitive 8A awards will work in conjunction with other regulatory streaming actions by the FAR Council. So here, it actually talked about increasing the amount of on-ramps for 8A companies. So they want to increase access to these on-ramps, which are basically where you're locked out of these 5-10-year contracts. And so the only people on there are the people who are already in there. And so what the government is saying is they want to make it easier to allow more companies that were locked out. So if you just start government contracting today, and there's a 10-year vehicle that started in 2024 that ends in 2034, you were been technically locked out of that. And so what they're saying here in this memo that came out of the White House was that they want to allow you that were previously locked out to get onto these vehicles, right? And so that way, right, you can maximize, right, these existing contracts and your set asides for orders under these contracts. In fact, here, let me just drop this in there for all of you to have so you can see it. But, you know, I think a lot of times we hear like the rhetoric, and so there's a lot of miseducation, which is why we try to come here and help make sure we educate people. But yeah, as you can see, this came out White House September the 26th, and it talks about the different programs. And it says the FAR coverage also promotes greater competition in 8A business development program, so they're better prepared to win work when they graduate the program. So again, they mentioned in this particular memo twice, they mentioned the 8A program. They mentioned preservation of set-asides, more competitive awards, right? So no, the program has not gone away. And then on the other part of the what I brought up today was they also adjusted the spending rate. So they increased the amount of spending for micro purchases. They also increased the spending for some of the 8A programs. So here, the threshold for separate justification, they moved that up for 8A participants, went from 25 to 30 million. And then when you're dealing with like on the tribal side, the $100 million went up to 150 million. So they have not gotten rid of any of these programs. They have they're doubling down on the programs, in fact. But again, just be careful who you're listening to, because again, there's a lot of information going out there. All right. Yeah, huge opportunities coming, Tavin, for you and for everybody else out here. That's why I'm making it. My LLC business email is on your list. I have UEI, Cage, and excited to see what's this year. Good stuff. G Major. Lee says, what are you hearing about CMMC? Yeah, so CMMC, we're already getting some of that coming down for DoD. So what I've heard about from other agencies, again, I personally right now, we don't have, well, we do have Coast Guard work, which falls under Homeland Security. But yeah, so all of the work that we have are essentially focused on Homeland Security, which is, yes, defense. So I don't have any non-defense work. So I honestly don't know the answer to that right now, Lee. Sorry. What contracts do you like more, construction services or products? So which ones do I like more? I mean, I like product contracts more, but they're harder for me to get. And so for me, I've always found that services are a lot easier for me because we can essentially stand out in the services arena more so than we can with products. So with products, because they're commodities, I just found them, for me personally, to be harder to sell because I don't have a way of differentiating myself from somebody else. But in the services side, Smoke, it's really easy for me to give you 4 or 5 differentiators, no matter where you're at and where you start. So that's a really easy thing to do. So for example, on the services side, right, a unique differentiator is your location. So physically location. So if you were bidding a project that within, I don't know, that was on a military base that was close to driving distance from your home, that is a differentiator, right? Hey, I'm close proximity to this base. In fact, that is something that I've used before to get me a sole source contract where I said, "Hey, we know a lot of people work on these your facility are not local contractor. We are a local vendor." Differentiator right there, right? The other thing that we talked about was having a local workforce. So not only am I local, my workforce is local. Again, second differentiator. In fact, one of our students, I helped her to use that to secure a services contract in another state. So I helped her to use that because we said that our employees that we're hiring are locally based. Yes, my company may be in Florida, but the employees that we're assigning to your project are located in, let's just say, uh, I don't know, Spokane, Washington, right? So again, differentiator, right? And so then these are things that I can easily come up with off the top of my head for services that I can't necessarily come up with for a product. Like, how do I differentiate from, a product where we want this specific product, this specific brand, this specific size? It's harder for me to differentiate that. Hope that answered your question. All right. What about small business? Small businesses, does the agency still need to do some business with them, or is it still the same requirement? I don't understand the question. Does the agencies need to still? Can you clarify the question? With so much competition, what's the most overlooked entry point type? Um, so again, the most overlooked entry point type, right? So what I've seen big time is that it depends on where you're at. I have this video. I'm going to share it with you guys, okay? That none of you watched. And I get it. So none of you watched this video, right? And this was the most important video to answer the question that he just asked. In fact, let me pull it up now. Let me see if I can pull up the video while we're here. So I'm gonna pull this down. I'm gonna show this video. Let me see if I can grab it. Hold on. Okay. All right. So I've got this video right here. Nobody watched this video. All right. This video literally has 400 views in 11 months. And you know what happens? I understand, right? Like I said, I'm not necessarily the best guy at YouTube. But in this video, Kyle, who works at the National Guard, okay, Kyle literally goes over all the opportunities in the National Guard, right, that they have a shortage. So they literally have a shortage in people responding to their projects. And nobody watched the video. And I get it. Eric, it's a lot of videos. I know it's a lot of videos. They have a shortage and opportunities for small businesses. And I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you where they're at. But you should still watch the video. Nobody watched the video, right? Here. And so it talks about what challenges does National Guard face in local small business partnerships. Right there, 3245. He said they're doing 80% small business. He said they fell short in veterans goals, SDVOSB, but he's literally said he's doing 80% small business. 80. 80% small business goals. 80% Okay. So that is unheard of. Literally, it's unheard of. I don't know anybody's doing any of those kind of numbers. If you watch any of my content recently, I've talked about scorecards. That is unheard of. The man just said, I'm doing 80% small businesses. And he still has some problems because what he told me was the National Guard, if you look up the map of the National Guard, right? I mean, they're getting a lot of press now, but the National Guard is in, uh, let's see if we can find it. So the National Guard is in a lot of like small rural areas, right? They're on border towns. They're same thing. They're all over, like in these like smaller areas, and so places where we don't have military bases, usually you'll see the National Guard, small cities, small towns, things like that. And so what happens is all those people need support. So he said that they have a hard time finding hotels in those areas, places to feed the people in those areas, like food services, things like that, in these rural areas because the people in those communities don't necessarily do government contracts. So he said that they don't get a lot of requests when they go to these smaller places. They're having a hard time filling those gaps. But because only 400 people watched the video, no one got a chance to hear that. So big time. That's a low-hanging fruit. Get your contract. The other thing about the National Guard is a lot of people don't know is that the National Guard has agreements internationally. So you can actually work with the National Guard. They have agreements with other international organizations that you could be doing work with them in other places around the world. They are like one of the like most slept on groups that people don't know about because we're always chasing like DOD and all the big names. So good question, big time. For me, I would look into the National Guard and see, right? First of all, I listened to that video, right, with my man Kyle, and then from there I would go in and see what they're talking about. But yeah, that's something that people sleep on is National Guard. All right. Jackie says, first time here. How do I like to start? Government kind of not sure where to begin. Do you have any suggestions, recommendations for a beginner? So yeah, Jackie. I mean, obviously we have a lot of videos online. We also have a free course online that you can start with. If you are interested, we also do assessment calls where you can sign up for an assessment call for free, and we'll evaluate your business, we'll tell you where you're at, and we'll tell you kind of like give an action plan of which things you should be doing. So those are some of the things I recommend. A free course, we've got a free community, and then we can do a business assessment for you. All right. Met Eric Dobbs at the Vets Edge conference. Nice. Tavin says, I seen this. I listened twice because National Guard is a target customer. Right. See, but Tavin also, by the way, if you guys don't keep noticing, Tavin is winning because he's not letting anything go past him. Tony says, I know what video you're going to show. Screws. No, I'm not screwing the screws video. What's up, Yolanda, right? Hey. No, you're welcome, Jackie. And again, Jackie, for a beginner, maybe you might not understand the video, but I mean, like I said, this is something that, in fact, you know what? Since you said that big time, I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna re-release that video because my man Kyle not getting no love out here, and he literally, I mean, Tavin, what'd you think about the video? I mean, what'd you think? He's not getting no love, and my man is just straight like. By the way, I don't think you guys even understand. It took me like 2 years to get him on the show. 2 years to get him on the show. Right? So That's how long it took me to get Tavin on the show. People said, "What's our community?" Our community is called Federal Help Center. So federalhelpcenter.com is the name of our community. But yes, so it took me 2 years to get him on the show, and the only way that I got him on the show was, like, we were at an event in DC, well, not technically in DC, but in Virginia here, Northern Virginia, and we were hanging out, and so, we got a chance to actually, like, talk and converse and hang out, and he got a chance to know me, and then from the time after that, he was like, "Eric, set up a meeting with me next week, and then we'll do a run through," and then, like, a few weeks later, we scheduled the interview. 2 years I had been after him. 2 years. So, like, we're constantly out here, putting information out there, getting it in front of people. I'm constantly harassing people to get them on here to share this stuff with you guys so that you don't have to necessarily buy a ticket to go fly somewhere to get this information. I'm asking these people to give it to you. Another place, big time, that again, another overlooked area that I know my man, I know Tav and him saw it, but uh where'd it go? Hold on one second. So, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out here. Okay. All right. So, here. Now, this one might not be as easy, but again, if you want to find like the needle in the haystack type of stuff, right? So, this is my man Zach from Sandia National Labs. Again, if you're looking for stuff that's just not right, that's not everyone's gonna see it, everyone's not going after it. This is some of the stuff. Sandia is another one, right? They're spending, I think, 1.5 billion with small businesses, but because the opportunities are down on sam.gov, you're not competing with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. So again, lots of opportunities. They have their own portals, they have their own sites that they have, and you don't have to compete against everybody and their mama who is not trying to learn how to do government procurement. In fact, when you go to any of the energy events, right, you'll notice that the biggest companies in our country that are doing contracts are sponsoring the energy events. Because why? Because that's a huge space, and Department of Energy outside of DoD is like the number 2 spender. So again, another sleeping gem. The other reason why I like the laboratories are because the laboratories, even though they're government agencies, they're ran by private companies. So again, that could be good or bad depending on how you take it, but they're ran more efficiently. And so again, another opportunity because their bids have their own platform, they have their own portals. So, if you're looking to how do I get away from the noise, right? This is another way that you could do it. All right. Let me see. Okay. Brick Wall says I'm new, but I've been watching for a while. It's okay. Look, people come in, they go. I've seen it all the time. I've been on this platform for a while. I've seen people come in and go, and it wasn't the right season for them to get started, and then so it's cool. By the way, Tony, you and I got to set up a time to talk to my man TJ. I don't think we figured out time. Oh, Tavin, you didn't see the video? Yeah, Sandia. I mean, that's one of their codes they're buying. Is construction. In fact, here, look, see if I can zoom in. All right, 1.7 billion in contract spending. Can you guys read that? Make it a little bit bigger. Hold on. Okay, so this is some quick data. 1.7 billion annual subcontract spend, 67% goes to small businesses. So again, about $1 billion. Top 10 NAICS codes. Construction. Look at that. Look at that, Tavin. Construction. Boom. You have to register in their iSupplier, which is that's their profile portal. Okay. And then they had upcoming events. Again, when I did this at the time, they had their opportunities fair. Source of SOTs. They're doing source of SOTs like everybody else. Okay. You aren't going to make this mistake on vague capability statements, Tavin, because you know better. So again, yeah, they're prioritizing small businesses. Construction, they've got aging facility that needs upgrades. They got IT and engineering services, machine shops, Tony, and electronics manufacturing, and lab equipment and testing. So yes, they need all that. Yeah. Yeah. Again, that's why I'm saying is it's so many places to start, so much opportunity that no one person can know everything. And that's why, again, I'm out here like pounding the pavement and asking these people to tell me this so we can have this information. Eventually, I'd like to somehow have it cataloged so that we can have a repository of this stuff. But for now, I'm getting it the best I can. But I mean, it's at least it's in my brain. Hopefully, I don't die for no reason. But it's in my brain, so I can at least spit it off when people ask me questions. All right. What else? What else you guys have? That's it. Y'all out? Y'all out of gas? That's cool with me. Tony said, Tony, right in there. What is CSO? By the way, Tony, you realize that I've been talking about CSOs for 5 years. Let me go back. I know Tam knows what CSO is. So again, 5 years. Look at this. Hold on. 5 years ago, 1.3K views. Nobody watched it. Unsolicited proposal, new product, new technology, OTAs, CSOs, BAAs. All right. We literally, and when we did this video 5 years ago, okay, we had in here, oh, we took it out. Oh, man. So we used to have in here a package that we gave that was all of the information to do an unsolicited proposal. But I mean, either way, if you go through here, you'll see, all the slides on what we cover, right? So again, it's funny because I still to this day teach this stuff, right? Technology, scalability. I go over your quad chart with peers. So I mean, we've been, and by the way, this is just one of, like, I've written blog posts on it. So yeah, it's just interesting because again, a lot of people, it's just. Yes. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, you didn't realize you had to search for them. Yes, correct. And that's what we talked about. Yes, you have to literally search for them. Matter of fact, I mean, this is what we've been, when this is what we've been doing, Tony, actually as it pertains, like the same thing with the OTAs. So part of our research was reaching out to the people that had CSOs and BAAs and seeing if they were active, and then also finding out what other needs they have And then essentially, yeah, like Tam said, oh, okay, we'll go into, so someone asked a question, brick wall, where do you see government going next 5 years? Tam puts up here, right here, sustainment, energy, AI, quantum, space. Psh, lights out. And then, like she said, all that has security wrapped in it. So, yeah. So, Big Time says, since AI can break down RFPs and draft compliance proposals, where do you see human strategy being edge in GovCon? I mean, just because AI can break it down and draft proposals doesn't make you a better suited candidate, right? It doesn't make you more qualified. It doesn't make you have more experience. It doesn't make you have a better actual overall proposal, right? So, really, the truth is, AI, in my opinion, has only helped the little guys. It hasn't really helped the big guys. The big guys are not using AI the same way we use it. A lot of the bigger companies, I know because I've interviewed some people that essentially their AI product is with the top like 50, DoD firms. You know what the big people are using AI for? I mean, I know Tam already knows this. Uh, they're using AI literally. So the big companies, they're not using AI the way we are. They're using AI to deal with regulations, to deal with compliance, to make sure that, because they already have contracts, right? They already have professional proposal shops that have been winning them bids for years. Like that's what they do. But what they're using AI for is to go to their repository of information to see where they've had it in the past so that they can pull that data, right? So one of the things that, like for me, I want to use AI for is taking all my videos, putting them inside of AI. So then I can, when someone asks a question like that, big timer, you could go and reference the specific video, the specific piece of content that I pulled up, and that, so then it says, okay, what are the best projects or programs to go after? Then my AI pulls into my repository, and then it shows you the interview with Kyle, and then it extracts that information for you. So this is the way that they're using AI, is for compliance, for pulling data, because they've got hundreds of proposals. I'm sorry, hundreds of thousands of proposals, right? They're using it for that particular case. So it still does not necessarily, like if I'm going to, like Tam said, let's say we're building a data center. I don't care how good your proposal is written by AI. If you ain't never built no data centers, that's irrelevant to me, right? So that's the thing. Now, I'll take it a step further. Let's just assume all things being equal. Let's say, yes, you've got the same past performance as me, history, right? Proposal was just a way like to wean out people anyways. But let's assume we're the same, neck and neck. Well, one of the things that they do is they have what they call oral presentations. You can't AI an oral presentation. So what is an oral presentation? Oral presentations where you have to actually go in and talk. So you got to stand in front of the government and say, okay, how are you going to build this building? Oh, you didn't read the proposal? Yeah, I read the proposal. I want you to tell me orally, what are you going to do to get this building from the ground up? Oh, so you can't fake that. So the government already has increased their use of what they call oral presentations anyways. So now what's going to happen, and this is not the first time. This has happened in the past when the government felt like people were getting too good at writing proposals. They started increasing the number of oral presentations that they have. In fact, I've got a video on that with someone that I recently did, but that one's not released, so I don't blame you for missing it. But what they've done is they start just increasing the use of oral presentations, meaning that, okay, everybody's writing perfect proposals, so let's do orals, and then they'll bring you guys in, and and that's what you see in the movie War Dogs, where they had to go in and do a presentation, and you see them at that long table where they're talking to all the different government people, and they say, "Hey, oh, your price was too low," and like, "Sir, what do you mean?" They're like, They said that, what was the words that they used? They said something like, you lowballed this contract, and so you're going to have more, you'll see the increase in oral presentations if, again, all things created equally, right? But AI does not give you past performance. AI does not give you the price. AI doesn't give you relevant experience. AI doesn't give you projects that are similar in nature. AI doesn't give you more advantages. It just allows you to compile your information in a manner that you can use it to better articulate if you are having challenges articulating it. So to me, AI has really given small businesses the advantage now to start to compete when we have all things equal, where we couldn't necessarily afford full out proposal writers and full out proposal teams. AI has given us more of a strategic advantage. And that's where I see with AI. Yeah, Tony. No, agencies have been posting CSOs for a while. You what you're probably seeing is the increase of CSOs, right? So you're seeing an increase in them, but I think that also comes with because of the types of work. I mean, like this administration is pushing for more streamlined procurement. And all those things that I talked about are streamlined procurement. OTAs, BAs, and CSOs are all forms of streamlined procurement. So this administration, they want to again cut the red tape, reduce the FAR, and so they're looking at all the different avenues that. By the way, the government has always had these things available to them. They just didn't use them. So this is all of these things have been available to all these agencies. They just never used them before. Oh, yeah. I mean, like she said, have you seen Anderval and Palantir? I mean, I know them. I talk about them all the time. You can't get a piece of those sectors without experience. Yeah. So so again, um, yeah, no, listen, I think that technology is good. I love technology. I've always been on the edge of technology. That's why I made this content 5 years ago about CSOs and OTAs. That's why we talked about unsolicited proposals. We can go back in my history where I was dealing with 802.11b, 802.11a. So, I mean, I was programming in elementary school. So I mean, I've always worked in new tech. I mean, it's been my thing. I worked not only that, I worked for Nortel Networks, and so we work with when they start introducing before they start introducing high speed internet when we had dial up internet. So I remember when we introduced switching networks inside for phone systems. So before, if you're old enough, you remember your phones couldn't do three-way calling. They couldn't have caller ID, none of those feature sets. They didn't have those abilities. I was there where we are introducing some of those features. So I've always been on cusp of technology. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, I came out with an AI video when chat first was released. I wrote a proposal using AI. When we were doing the DOE program, we utilized it. One of our students utilized chat to win successfully an award through the Department of Energy. And that's another opportunity we discussed. So again, lots of things out here. There's no shortage. There's just really sort of ideas. And I'm going to leave you guys with this quote that Alex Ramosi said, and he says, "If you're not making the money that you want, right, then you should use all of your discretionary time to either learn, right, how to do it, or be working on it." And so I'm going to leave everybody with that. So if you're not making the money that you want, you should be using all of your discretionary time to actually learn how to do it or be working on it. And so, as always, happy to see you guys. Happy to talk to some of my OGs. Looking forward. I know Tam and Tony. We got calls this week. Again, I'm going to be here in Virginia, and like I said, I'm working on. I got to get some stuff through to the SBA, Tony. I'm kind of in your situation, trying to get somebody to push my paperwork through right now. But and everybody's scared because the people that we know from the previous administration, they're scared of this administration. But it's okay. That's why I'm closer to the fire and the flame, so I can actually touch it. But all right, listen, everyone have a great night. If you have any questions, you know where to reach us. Go to our website. All of our information is there. Sign up for the event Saturday. We're going to be getting prepared for it. I've got some new content coming out. And yeah, I'm actually, Tam, I'm making a bunch of content on Andorol, Palantir, PayPal Mafia, uh, you know, and so looking forward to it. Thanks, guys and girls.